Our next speaker is Fernando. If at first you don't succeed. Fernando, if at first you don't succeed.
Good evening, America. No reply. But isn't it nice? I'm here, number 9. Did you notice the first 8 speakers were a bit fair? But the contest chair was so good to break the rhythm, he said, I come number 9. And then you'll see the number 10 is fairly different. She's fair, but she's different. My dear friends, you would have noticed that we have all kinds of speakers here today. All are trying to speak to you on some subject. Allow me to share with you something. Contest chair, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that many of you, just like me, would have missed out many opportunities in life because you gave up trying. The well-known proverb always advises us to try and try again, simply because success most of the time only comes through trying. We have to put in the effort and we got to try. I tested this theory even at a casino. I went to a casino. I sat in front of the machine and I was hoping to win a jackpot. People around me were winning a bit here and there, but I was not. Then I realized I had to put in some coins. My dear friends, I've been an insurance salesperson for 26 years. And in my country, insurance salespeople enjoy a sort of legendary respect. They say that in my country, when there is a riot, they do not call the police to disperse the crowd. They call in a few insurance salespeople. When I started off, I did a few sales, but I was not at all doing well. I found the going so difficult, I was lacking in confidence, I was discouraged, and it was all because I was not trying. I was on the verge of giving up when one day my regional manager called to me and he said, Fernando, if at first you don't succeed, you got to keep on trying. He said, what you must never do is give up trying. I told him, it's so tough. He said, when the going is tough, you just keep going. See people daily. Tell them what you do, what you sell. Maybe they'll buy. And he sent me off saying, go on and try. And to encourage me, he quoted a very famous Indian proverb. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with first putting on your shoes. Putting on your shoes here, my friends, could be likened to putting on confidence, putting on self-faith. With each step that we take, a positive act towards a noble goal. I have since tried and I have failed. Oh, yes, I have. As a person, as a relationship, as a speaker, and in sales. But because I kept trying, I became better and better. And then I realized that if I wanted to be better, I would have to overcome all my fears and phobias. For many years, I was afraid of flying. And every time I was given an incentive to fly, I would withdraw, I would resist. Then 10 years ago, my regional manager said, Fernando, you got to go to China. We are having a grand convention there. I said, I would not go. I asked him if there was a train going. He said, no. Then he said, you better go to China. If you have never done that before, why don't you try? And he said, I'll give you an incentive. In China, he said, you'll meet a lot of Chinese. Well, I found that when I took the flight, I was not actually afraid of flying. I was afraid of the plane crashing. Ladies and gentlemen, there might be some amongst you just like me. You might have fear of heights, flights, many things. But unless you try, you will never know, would you? And there might be some amongst you who have tried everything. And you say, well, I'm so confident I don't need anything. Well, could I humbly suggest that you too try? And you might ask, what do I try? Well, I would say you try something new. Try something new. When every time we are doing something, trying whatever we are doing or trying something new, that is a sure way to expand and extend our life. I'm at present trying out a simple project. I'm collecting 2,000 jokes. Now you might think it's easy. What's unique about this project is I have to see 2,000 people and get from each one of them one joke, which to their best of the knowledge is original. And then I'm going to compile it, put it in a book and sell it. 2,000 people, 2,000 jokes. Recently somebody shared with me a very humorous story. This young lawyer goes before a judge and he asked the judge for a postponement. He said, Your Honor, can I have a postponement because I'm constipated? The judge looks at him and says, motion denied. Ladies and gentlemen, the message is this. If at first or second or third we do not succeed, we have to keep trying. My presence here today is testimony of what trying can do. 23 years ago, at my age 35, I heard in a convention a speaker on the platform so polished, so fluent, and he was from America. And I said at that time, one day, I want to come to the United States of America and address that international group. 23 years ago, I pledged that to myself. And then I started speaking, and I made a lot of mistakes. I mumbled, I was humbled, and sometimes I was even bundled out. But I didn't give up. I spoke as well as I could. Someone once even suggested that I take up comedy. He says, you will be a good stand-up comedian. You stand up, half comedy is done. But I did not. I decided I wanted to be someone. And that is why 4 years ago I joined Toastmasters. I participated in 18 speech contests before I qualified to be here, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing beats trying. My dear friends, I leave you with what I hope is a very thought-provoking statement. Think about it. When we do not try, a piece of God dies within us. Think about it. Take home this message, my friends. A piece of God dies within us. Mr. Toastmaster.
That was fantastic. Beautiful. Our second place winner, Fernando.